The Cavallo team recently had the chance to help horse productions outfit the horse Beyoncé rode for her stadium performance. Here's how it all came together.
I'm Heidi Melocco, and I'm here today with the team from Cavallo. And they have had some very exciting news lately, and we wanted to tell you the whole story. So I'm here with Jenny Mundell and Yvonne Welz. And ladies, I want you to tell us what has happened, what the news is, and how the Cavallo team worked together once they got this first message. Jenny, lead us off. What did you first hear about?
Well, so this is how Beyonce's horse ended up in Cavallo boots. We were just having a regular work day, and I was contacted by Scarlet Walker, and she has a company just outside Los Angeles called Horses for Productions. And so what they do is they get horses. They have their own horses, and they use them for the music industry and use them for photography shoots, video shoots, and also
Big
for the
stuff.
film industry. Big productions. If you go to their website, Horses for Productions, it's quite amazing what they do. And so I had made contact with Scarlet Walker. I want to say it was 2023, seems like last year, and we noticed a little donkey marched out on the Oscars stage.
Oh,
And
nice.
and it was to talk about the film The Banshees of, I hope I'm pronouncing it right, Banshees of Inisherin. And it's a movie filmed in Ireland, and so the actual donkey couldn't be there for the award ceremony, so they called Scarlet, and they had this beautiful little donkey on the stage, little mini donkey, and we noticed she was wearing Cavallo CLB boots. So I was so shocked. I made a Facebook post, and we put the post out there saying, hey, look at this, with an image of the donkey, and it just said, does anybody know how this donkey ended up in Cavallos? Whoever booted this little donkey, please ask them to contact me. And then she did. Scarlett actually saw the post, somebody forwarded it to her, and she ended up writing on the post and then contacting me directly. So we chatted about it, and I just said, if you ever need boots for anything else, just let me know. We'll help you out. And so she ended up contacting us that day in a panic because they had done, rehearsal session for the beautiful Beyoncé pole intro where she comes in on the white horse into the stadium. And the stadium floors were a slick concrete, so they use, I think it's a rubberized horseshoe that they use for film, and so it really just looks like a natural hoof. But they weren't cutting it. They were too slippery for that flooring. And then, when you see her come in on that beautiful, I think it's to represent the American flag with the red and white striping. And that is like a very fine felted material. And it was also very slippery. So they thought, what the heck are we going to do? So she ended up reaching out, and she said, I just feel really weird asking you this. We have 7 horses that need boots all around. Can you send them? And we said, sure, but we didn't know who they were for. She had signed a non-disclosure agreement. She couldn't give any details.
At
she
that
just said,
time until
we're a mega pop star.
Your mind has to be going, okay, who could be this person,
Who is
this
it?
person, what is this, what's coming up? You probably have to Google around a little bit. But I want to say something about how she came to you, though. I think that's wonderful how organic that is, that it wasn't that you were just shipping boots out to say, put these on the donkey, like that will be at the Oscars. It was that it actually happened, and then you found it. So she already knew about the company and the boots and was using them. That feels pretty darn cool too, I'm sure.
So her mom had the company before her. I think is still quite involved, and so they've been using Cavallo boots for over 10 years. So They said they had tried other brands, but they can't use them for film or can't use them because there are too many gadgets or too many, custom things that make it really difficult. Whereas the Cavallos are so easy. You pop them on, pop them off. If they're well sized, they're not going to come off. Just a leave it, set it and leave it kind of thing. So they go with Cavallo and no other brand, which was very flattering for us. But yeah, it was nice to hear that.
So, all right. So I can imagine from her point of view, and we have plans to interview her as well. So we'll hear what happened there, because I'm sure there's tons of planning, and then you get there and what she's prepared with the horses isn't the same as all of the set design, and you see that and realize, oh my gosh, my horses aren't going to do well in this environment, and I need everybody to be safe. Like, that is a huge responsibility and burden for her. So, okay, so this phone call happens. You know
So
that
then-
you can't say anything, but it's a major pop star, and there's 7 horses. And how fast did they all need boots that fit and probably couldn't? There's no time for a mess up here, right? It was that had to be right. So what did you do?
Well, that's where Yvonne comes in. So Yvonne should probably tell the rest.
So we were in the middle of post Black Friday madness. So things were absolutely crazy at Cavallo. And Jenny contacts me and says, we have this super rush job that has to be done for a mega star, but we don't know who. So I dropped everything, and Scarlet sent beautiful photos of the hooves of all the horses. It was actually 8 horses that she sent photos of fronts and hinds, and they were really nice, clear photos. So I was able to do a good sizing on them all. And
then, when she sent the photos, did you instruct her like laying the tape over? Were they like the measuring in place? Okay.
Yes. So she sent, we need photos of the hooves with the measuring tape on the hooves for the length and the width. And it's pretty simple, but they need to be kind of precise and really good photos. And since she's in the Hollywood industry, I think she knows how to take good photos. And those made all the difference in the world. Yeah, to have really nice photos to start with. And I just did the sizing, and I didn't really think too hard about it. I think if I knew who the boots were for and where they were going to be used, I would have had some sort of stage fright, but I did not know.
No kidding.
Well, but that's good. Like, you're doing the job you do for anybody that calls in and trying to be as precise as you can.
That's right.
But you definitely don't want the boots slipping around or being too big or anything if it's going to be on national television and Netflix for years and years and years.
I need boots for 9 horses that need to be here in 4 days. Can we make that happen? And you guys were so lovely because I had signed NDAs, so I couldn't tell you guys anything. And I was like, I think it's going to be something really cool with a really cool singer, or I couldn't even tell you a singer. I was a really cool person. Can you help me? And there was like no questions asked. You guys were like, absolutely. What do you need? Measure horses. Let's get the boots out to you like right away. And it did. I mean, within probably like 48 hours of me measuring all the horses, which we'd had another fire here. We had like rain before that. Like, it was just like wild weather here. And a lot of times when we don't have, a lot of times when there's fire, the power goes out, so we don't have cell service. So there was just like, it was just wild here trying to measure all these horses and get the measurements to you. And I was like, there's no way that you guys are going to get these boots to us with such short notice. And sure enough, on like 48 hours later, a FedEx truck showed up with just a bunch of boxes with the boots, and it was like horsey Christmas. Because
so the horses were already there. They're already in probably their dress rehearsal planning practice time when Scarlet was terrified by
they were ready to go. They were ready to go.
And slipping is scary because you can have a horseshoe on your horse, and that can protect the hoof in some way from stone bruises or things like that. But it doesn't necessarily mean you're not going to slip, especially on a fabric. But I think that's important for listeners to hear as well, because there are times that even if you're not going to do the whole barefoot thing, you still might need hoof boots in certain situations, and they can go over.
Yeah, that's right. We have a lot of booted users. I used to go down, I haven't for a couple of years, but go down to the Backcountry Horsemen of Washington, to the big, the big event that they have there every year. And I would have a table set up, selling to just a ton of shod users because they need them. They ride in such rough country out there near Ellensburg. They're right in the mountains, and they put those hoofs through a lot. So they bring the boots with them. They don't necessarily have them on all the time, but they'll boot up if they're going through terrain where they know they're going to need that extra protection. But then they also have boots handy in case their horse has a hoof issue, which every horse does eventually. So you've got them in the barn. We sell to a lot of booted users now, and our boots, as far as I know, are the only ones that really fit well, and that the soles can manage having that little shoe.
Having the shoe. And even for being in the trailer, right?
Yeah.
For people that trailer a long time, do you get feedback from customers?
Yeah, absolutely, for transport.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially barrel racers. They go long hauls and they go often, so yeah.
And they want to make sure that their horses has that padding on the road, so when they get there, they're ready to go. They don't have that time they need to walk everything off and get totally limbered up again. You still have a little of that, but if you feel better while you're traveling and have that, I'm sure that's better. Okay, so not everybody that calls in or needs hoof boots is Beyoncé, but Yvonne, walk us through for everybody as a horse owner. How do you help them make sure they get the right fit the first time?
So we have really good instructions on our website, which provide the details about how to take the photos and send them to us. We have forms that they can easily send the photos on, or they can just send an email. And once we get the photos, we size for them, and then we interact with them and ask them what they're going to be using the boots for, and all the details they have about their horse that can help them decide what boot model that they would like to use. And we provide instructions on how to test the boot fit before they use the boots. They can actually test the boot fit with the horse in hand and make sure there's no excess movement and make sure the boots fit correctly. And then it's just a really super easy exchange process if there's any fit tweaking that we need to do. So there are some horses that have extra large pasterns or, extra fine bones or something that changes things so that you have to tweak the fit. But there's a lot of horses that are just super easy to size long distance, and they fit perfectly immediately the first time, which we were so lucky that all of Scarlet's horses were like that.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, you guys had sent us how to measure them, and it was just, simple pictures, this way for measurements. So we grabbed a tape measure, and our property's kind of big, so there's, horses are all over. So I had to, jump in the gator and go measure horses. And of course, I'm trying to get emails and calls from this job, and everyone's, wanting things from me. And so just really quickly, we went out to every horse, snapped a picture of a tape measure on, lateral and upways, and just put in a PDF and sent a picture of them. And if I can do it for 9 horses in a rush, anybody else could do it for 1 or 2 horses.
So when did you find out who it was actually for? Was it after the event actually aired, or was there a time that she could actually tell you what this was going to be?
She told us right before it aired, and she said, watch Netflix.
Just watch Netflix.
I went and looked at it, and we were told that there was no promise that the boots would even show. So we just kind of took a gamble for fun. We wanted to see, what is this? We were too curious not to do it. And so, when I was watching it, I just couldn't believe it, because there she comes, and you're not only seeing her come head on, but from almost a sort of a lower angle looking up at her. So the boots are quite pronounced and quite large, and the logos are visible, and there they were. And then she comes down and comes to the long corridor and comes around the corner, and all of her contemporaries are there observing her, and it's just a beautiful moment and a beautiful song. And it was quite touching, and they're there watching her come out, and half the horses are also booted with Cavallos. So it was exciting. I mean, really exciting. It couldn't have been better for us. I mean, if you think about horses, for what we do, we boot horses, but we're also really passionate barefoot horse people. We want things to change for horses and for the welfare of horses. And right now, everything is blowing wide open for horse welfare and for things changing in Europe, Canada, UK, everywhere. People are starting to really realize horses don't have the best lives, and there's a lot of things we can do to make it better for them. And so a lot of horse people don't even know about booting yet. Right. So this is huge. It basically threw boots into the mainstream, and people are going, wait a minute, what are those? Okay, wait a minute. And they're starting to get curious and ask questions. And other people that they know are saying, we've been boating for years. We know all about it. We'll fill you in. And it gets conversation going. So in the end, this is a win for horses. It's huge.
And we went into Michael's last week. My daughter wanted some craft supplies, and the whole first row was all Western hot pink white horse thing. And for better, worse, whatever, if you like her music or not, it is helping people get an interest into the horse world, get into lessons, do things.
Yeah.
It's a trickle down, not only in how animals are seen and how they're perceived, but getting that interest. Anything we can do to get people interested in the horse industry, I think, is a win for sure.
Yeah,
Definitely.
she became a booted icon and doesn't even know it.
Yeah.
Well, and it's cool because a lot of people don't realize Yvonne is from the barefoot horse. Yvonne is one of the first barefoot advocates in North America, and I would say one of the strongest. So I hope that was cool for you too, Yvonne, that way.
Yeah, to me, everything revolves around making things better for horses. So you said it very well, Jenny, because that's my whole interest, my sole interest is in making things better for horses worldwide. And this only contributes.
So anybody can see Beyoncé's performance on Netflix.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that there are some YouTube previews as well if you want to sneak a little Google in there. And then tell us again, Yvonne, what's the best way to get to that site to measure your own boots or your own boots?
So our website is cavallo-inc.com. So it's cavallo-inc.com. And if you look at the top bar, it says how to measure. And you just click on that, and it has a whole page of instructions. And it's easy to get a hold of us anytime by email. We'll treat you like Beyonce.
So true.
Well, thank you so much. What a fun story, and what a fun way to see how a team that works together comes together. Very cool. Well, thank you both so much for chatting with me today.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Heidi.
Thank
Okay,
you.
bye.